Hey everyone, hope everything's going well. You guys and gals know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH underscore sports. Follow me on my finance channel at AIH Finance. Okay, so I wanted to discuss cornering the market. Okay, so this topic came in my head. I mean, I talked about this earlier on, okay? And I've also seen videos of Dan, great curator. He was talking about how he buys certain cards basically to corner the market. I have to look for the clip, but I do remember him stating that. And while there's nothing illegal about that in this industry, in other industries it is considered illegal. And I'll give you an example. So, I've told you that I follow the silver market. So before I was born, this was what, 1980. And there were these brothers, the Hunt brothers, and they amassed a fortune after I think their father passed away. And they believed in silver. In 1980s, they had inflation like we're facing today, probably a little worse back then. But anyways, what they did was they cornered the silver market. And in the silver market, what happens is you buy, if you're playing the futures markets, you take cash settlement. No one really takes delivery of the silver eagles or silver bullion, whatever it is, right? And these individuals, instead of taking the cash, they just wanted physical delivery. And usually these exchange houses like the COMEX, CME, they don't have all of that silver on hand. So that basically pumped up the price of silver and they were leveraged. And eventually, the government started putting pressure on the banks to be like, hey, look, you can't lend to these guys for these speculative activities. And eventually, after cornering the silver market and pumping up the price to 50, it crashed down to 11 bucks from what I've read. So, in that industry, that's illegal. In this industry, well, it's not. And I also dived into this topic after I had a conversation yesterday with one of my followers. And he said that, hey, look, I play the high end game. And while you talked about money laundering, there are also individuals on the high end and they play games. Now, can you call this cornering the market? Well, you can decide for yourself. So he's to know this, and he won't come on my program because it's going to eventually, it could hurt him doing deals with some of these high end guys. So he did tell me, hey, this is the story. So it must have been over a decade ago. He knew this former NFL player or former athlete, and they used to go to um, private auctions. And what used to end up happening there is he noticed that there were individuals that were basically playing games. And you're going to argue that this was cornering the market. So, one of the examples he gave me was Sandy Koufax, right? And these individuals, they like Sandy Koufax, and and they were what he thought to be trust fund babies because he questioned these individuals and other individuals, and he noticed that a lot of them, they didn't get their wealth on their own. They just happened to be lucky that their parents are rich. And he noticed that the Sandy Koufax auction, there were just two dudes messing around saying, hey, let's basically, and they're laughing, having a good time, let's basically try to pump this up as high as possible. And they really didn't care about, the small end collector. But anyways, they kept on over playing these games, trying to overbid each other and trying to pump up the price to a ridiculous level so the other cards people can actually uh, go to. and pump those other prices of those cards up. So he was trying to tell me that, hey, look, money laundering probably does occur, but the high end, they play a lot of games. And I told him yesterday, hey, look, I sent him some things that, hey, look, I have some evidence where it appears money laundering is going on with some of these people, but I can't confirm it 100%. I'm 90% sure. But with a serious allegation like that, I'm like, okay, I can't bring this public. But I'm fairly confident, just me looking at what I've learned as an accountant, that money laundering most likely occurred during the pandemic stage. And if you just look at the cost of these cards pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, you could see the material change in the price of the high-end cards. And you could say low-end cards as well, right? I was giving examples where this Phelps card, the swimmer, you could buy these cards for about $2 base. And during the height, people were selling them for 30, $40. And it was a price change within 3 months. It was rampant speculation going on. Because, in my opinion, the high end, there was all sorts of hanky-panky going on, right? Including money laundering, including cornering the market, including the flood of easy money hitting the system. And also, you didn't have to pay your mortgage if you chose not to. And there were just all sorts of government handouts, PPP loans, everyone's favorite topic. The list goes on and on and on. So, yeah, cornering the market does occur. And I did read some articles on Blowout. Blowout talked about how this was even like 5, 6, 7 years ago. They're talking about, hey, like cornering the market, have you done it? And some people are saying like, hey, yeah, they tried to buy up all these cards, but then trying to unwind them, you have to be careful in trying to unwind these cards, because if you hit the market with all the supply, what's going to happen to the price? The price is going to go down. This is why Ken Golden, a couple years ago, he didn't sell all the Fleer 86 Jordan cards all at once, because you would have had a huge crash from $700,000 to maybe $150,000. Now, the crash has occurred, but it's over a longer period of time. So that's what happens when you attempt to corner the market. Eventually, the prices will come back into line. But this is something I won't do. And especially the high-end cards, the more information that I'm getting, I prefer the lower-end market, right? Like Sports Card Radio. They prefer the lower-end market. They know there's games played on the high end that they really don't want to really play with. Now, some people do play the high end, and, if you want to do that, go right ahead. It's just personal preference. But after the last few years going through this channel, right? This is a learning process for me, okay? And people say, hey, you do all these blogs, right? I do these blogs. Part of it is a learning experience to talk to other people, to do my own research, to become better at understanding cards from a business perspective, from a collecting perspective, etc. And what I've learned is a lot of hanky-panky throughout this industry, no doubt about this, but the craziest hanky-panky definitely goes on the high end, and part of it is because of cornering the market. Anyway, guys and gals, let me know what you think. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below. Thank you. Bye.